so many people rap often is so direct and so straightforward. Like, yeah, there's a little room for interpretation, but not much.
Sure.
Whereas I think God's Bathroom Floor, some other songs over the years, I think like became Who I'll Never Be. Some of these other songs much later in your catalog are a little ambiguous as to maybe what they're referring to. Whereas most rap, it's very clear. It's one or two things, maybe two, but it's usually this is what this is. There's no real guesswork involved.
Most of the songs that I feel a way about, or that I feel awkward about, or that I resent even, are ones from the very early years. You know, like I said, as time got on, I learned, and I'm still learning, how to do this in a way that benefits myself. Not, I don't want to say self-care, because that's kind of like a bumper sticker nowadays, but in a way that allows me to grow, as opposed to digress, you know, to progress instead of digress. And so Who I'll Never Be, yep, that is definitely born from a song like Woman with the Tattooed Hands. Or Who I'll Never Be is definitely, you know, definitely comes from a song like Adjust. It's just that the problem with Adjust was that there was a handful of people that were like, yo, is that fucking song about me? You know, the problem with Little Man is that it hurt my father's feelings, you know, and that was one of the last things that I knew. That was like one of the last parts of our relationship, was that somebody else told me, yo, you hurt his feelings with that song. And I never had a chance to really talk to him about that. And then he passed away. That was huge for me, as far as learning how to not weaponize my words in a way that hurts anybody but myself, if that makes any sense. I'm not here to hurt nobody's feelings. I can't use these words as weapons upon another human other than myself. And so I'm careful, if I'm going to say something that's sharp or, you know, fucking mean spirited or some shit, I'm careful to make sure that I'm more obvious with what I'm articulating, so that there's no room for anybody out there to be like, man, is he talking about me? Is that, and you know, and just give somebody that fucking feeling, because I'm not, I ain't never really been trying to hurt nobody with my words. And so the fact that some people were hurt with them, you know, that sits with me. I don't want that. You know what I mean? I didn't know that early on. It took me some time to learn that. And that's just one of the couple of things that I've learned in this game, as far as this game, but that I've learned in what I do and how I do it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, shit, dude, I got a list of things that I've learned the hard way here, though, when it comes to writing. You know what I'm saying? Because I've written a lot, like, and that's not a horn toot thing. I've written a lot of fucking songs.
Yeah, and that, now that you're saying that, it makes me think back to the You're So Ugly album, or God Loves Ugly, because the first thing on God Loves Ugly is that we hear is You're So Ugly. And I just remember thinking, like, when I first heard that album, not only the title, which I thought was hilarious and awesome in different ways and multiple interpretations, but You're So Ugly being the first thing that we hear on the album, I was just like, what? Like, I didn't. So now, is that, like, how do you evaluate that when you hear that, or when you think about it?
That particular sample, the You're So Ugly sample, I ain't mad at that. That what that was I was trying to state right out the gate that you are of value. The listener is of value. When we made the album, we didn't have that intro. You know, that intro, you know, you put your little bumpers and your little intros. Those are sometimes the last things you place on an album. You have your songs, you make your guts. And when I saw what this album was doing, and what this album had turned into a concept album, and it didn't start that way. It's just, this was a snapshot of where I was in my life, and that was the concept, which is oddly the concept of most of my albums are just fucking snapshots of literally where I am that year that we're making that album, you know? Well, when I looked at the snapshot of this album, I realized, like, yo, like, this is some like Like people are going to think that I'm suicidal. I think my friends are going to hear this and be like, dude, are you okay? And so I needed to go in and make sure that there was just enough sarcasm sprinkled around to make people not feel so weirded out by what they're listening to. Because if you took out the specifically the sound bites that I got on my, before cell phones had audio recording on it, like, you had a dictaphone, and I would carry it with me all the time. I had it in my bag all the time. And at any given moment, if I had an idea, I'd stop a person, a friend, a stranger, whatever, and be like, hey, can you say something for me? Say this. And they would say it, and then I'd keep it moving. And I collected these things. And so I went through the tapes and found different things that I was like, okay, I'm going to do this to help this album have like to make you be able to question if this was like for real or if this was a part of the concept or what have you. Because without that, you're so ugly, without the, what are you fucking freak, all those little moments, the songs just stood on their own feet, and it felt more negative. Those moments allowed this to become like my version of self-hating 3 Feet High and Rising or some shit, where it was just like those little things just gave it enough movement and enough playfulness. I know that's a weird word to use because even those things are negative, but the fact that they were overly negative made the songs hit a little less hard, if that makes any sense. It was like, oh, well, the song was not quite as fucking slit your wristy because you just heard somebody screaming at my face. You know what I'm saying?
Well, also, I agree. And then also on the title track, God Loves Ugly, I always enjoyed the Once Upon a Time in the Projects reference, because to me, and to your point, that took it away from, I want to slit my wrist. It's like, oh, he's playing off of Ice Cube in whatever way that inspired him. So what made you want to incorporate Ice Cube on that one in particular?
In that one, I'm going to have to take a guess here and say the reason I did that was because of the beat, because of the music. There must have been something in the music that spoke to me and made me think of Cube, made me think of that. Like I can't recall exactly why I put that there, why I wrote that, coming out of it's a whisper hook. Once upon a time, I damn near had to steal the show. Yeah, I think that there must have been something going on musically there that kind of pushed me to do that. Because oftentimes when I do the quotes, and I do a lot of them, I more of them sneak past people than I wished. I wish that they were all catchable, or that they were all more readable. But oftentimes, like sometimes even Ant don't notice it unless I point it out, and they'll be like, oh. And I think it's because maybe, I don't know, maybe a lot of the people that I'm juxtaposed with don't pay as much attention to my lyrics as I wish. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but I put a lot of those things in there, and oftentimes it is got something to do with the music. It's something about the music made me think of the Beastie Boys, and so I'm gonna say a Beastie Boy line right here. And to me, that is a thing for not just the listener, but I write for live performances. I write early on. I knew I was going to have to rap on stage if I wanted to like actually like have a job. And so I put those in there for those moments on stage to be able to do that. In my mind, it was always like, and then we'll scratch in actually Ice Cube saying it right there, and that'd be dope, and people will get it. No, people still didn't get it. You know what I'm saying? Dibs would scratch these things in and people still didn't fucking get it. You know what I mean? And so it was just like, but I did that shit for me. I did it for the music. Yo, I did it for Johnny. Like I wish I could actually give you a real answer, but that's my guess.
And fair enough. But I always also thought it was interesting on that song and elsewhere, you sprinkle in some very surprisingly materialistic things, like the face on the $10 million bill and want to be world renowned and all these different things. So clearly that's not the thrust of your work, but why do you think, as somebody that loves music, loves the culture and all these different things, that you did sprinkle that stuff in so much when it wasn't how people look at you?
Because I came from the era of Cool Keith saying shit like that. You know, I came from an era of rappers being able to be conscious, but also be like, yo, I want fucking money. You know, it was like, it wasn't until, man, I don't think it was until like the platinum era that suddenly money wasn't cool anymore. And I think what happened was in the platinum era, artists were going platinum. And now these artists that were going gold were looking at the platinum artists like, man, fuck y'all. And so the gold artists made money not cool. And I don't think this is intentional. I think this is all just nature taking its course. And then I'm looking at the gold artists because I wanted to be like fucking Eric Sermon. I wanted to be like, you know, fucking boot camp click, you know, shit like that. And so I think money got uncool after fucking the Chronic. I think the Chronic changed shit. You know what I'm saying? And so my raps were still coming from a person who grew up on rap before money wasn't cool. And so I was conscious of the fact that money wasn't cool, but I still would try to find my own clever ways of, I guess, signaling to you that I come from an era of rappers wanting to be in the limousine. We wanted a bottle of Moet. We wanted to be cool and be in the fucking rap video. You know what I'm saying? I remember Roots did that video where they were mocking all of the
what they
do. Yeah.
And De La Soul had done it first on Ego.
De La Soul. Yep, they did it. And here's the thing: they were mocking it, but it was a tongue-in-cheek version of mocking. And I feel like the audience was the one that looked at it and was like, "Oh, they're dissing." And it was like, I never saw that as a diss. I saw it more as like, we see you, and we kind of want to be like you, but we want to be the new version that also does it, that also, you know, makes sure to put away money for our kids' college funds and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but you can't find a rapper that didn't want money, man. My most underground, straight underground backpacker friends of all times that hated all this shiny suit shit and all the jiggy shit and hated all that. Deep down, they wanted money too. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's America, dude. There ain't nobody that don't want money. You know what I mean? It's just like, what you don't want is to trade your integrity for money. And that's even a thing of youth. You know, here I am now, I'm getting close to 50, and I'm like, yo, integrity, what the fuck is that? Like, I left a lot of money on the table in my younger days. And now I'm looking at it like, man, I there's no way I couldn't have, especially when you look at the landscape today, and there's really nothing that's off limits. You know, there's things that go on today that in 2003 we would have clowned, but today, because of social media and because there's literally no mystique to the artist anymore, like, nothing's off limits, man. These motherfuckers are in their social medias drinking Tang to be like, yo, you know, give me my money, Tang. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it is what it is. And their audience still loves them. You know what I'm saying? It's like, at the end of the day, man, your music is your music. And if you're connecting with people, they're going to love you no matter what. Those bitter motherfuckers that are like, yo, you better not sell out and all that shit. That's all that is those are people that are scared that they're not going to make it.
Right.
And that's what I was. I was scared that I wasn't going to make it. So I was on some like, yo, fuck the major labels. Years later, I became friends with people that worked at major labels. And you know who those people were? They were like nice people that loved music that just happened to get jobs at major labels. And I'm sitting here looking at my friends like, man, I used to say, fuck y'all. I used to think y'all were the worst. And now I realize y'all are just music nerds like me. You know, you're just seeing it from a different angle and a different perspective. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm not going to say I regret leaving money on the table, because it had to happen. It is what it is. It's what got me to where I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of that shit is how I became this person who is like supposed to remember how fortunate and lucky I am, but is also stressed the fuck out, you know, every fucking day about life, just like everybody else, you know. But the bottom line is, that's where I am, and this is who I am, and this is how I got here. So yes, I told Heineken, no, you cannot sponsor my European tour because you're a fucking beer company. Dog, I should have let them sponsor my European tour. Give me the fucking 30 grand or whatever, and put the little Heineken coasters on every bar. I don't give a fuck, because who cares? It's not like these people are looking at it like, oh, Slug likes Heineken. Oh, cool. Like, it's not even like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, now we know. Now we know, based that everything is based in analytics, marketing. We're here. We're in the future, and the future fucking sold out. It's sold out on us. And there's nothing none of us could have done to prevent it. So we should have all been getting our fucking dough. And just imagine all the good we could have did with that dough. You know, now I know in hindsight, it's not a matter of not making money or making money. It's a matter of what you do with that money.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
What's that 5 on Young TV back with NWA?
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.